yeah, 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 yeah. Step into the den where the stories ignite. Legends in the making, all the ones in the light. They walk through the fire, they've danced with the fight. Barely holding back, but their words take flight. Barely legends, yeah, we're breaking the scene. Raw truth, no fluff, every word is clean. From the top of the game to the ones unseen. Barely legends where the dream gets me. Yeah, we got tales from the rise and the climb so steep. Bars of wisdom hidden in the secrets they keep. Mic in the hand, truth rolls so deep. Barely legends waking giants from sleep. Barely legends, yeah, we're breaking the scene. Raw truth, no fluff, every word is clean. From the top of the game to the ones unseen. Barely legends where the dream gets me. Barely scratching the surface.
First off, I just want to get into kind of your story. How did you get into covering arena football leagues, indoor football leagues? What stuck out to you to kind of like focus on that?
Yeah, so I grew up going to Orlando Predators games in the old Arena Football League in the late 90s and 2000s, and it was such a blast. I was like, I think my first game I went to, I was like 8 years old, and it was just awesome. I was like, like we're right up on the action, and it's an interesting brand of football that differs from what you see on TV. And what fascinated me about the game was that you were so close to the action. Like if you go to an outdoor football game, the best seat in the house is probably 30, 40, 50 yards away from the football at any given
Yeah,
time. Best seat in the house in an arena and indoor football game is like you reach out and grab the players. Like
yeah,
they're right there. So it's just fascinating to me. And, years went by, things and stuff happened with the Arena Football League in the 2010s. And a few years back, I was getting back into the sport and I was falling down the rabbit hole of like the IFL and the NAL and this, that. And I was looking for a podcast and a blog that resonated with me and like kind of spoke my language in terms of how I would want to listen uh, to how the sport is covered. And I couldn't really find something that scratched that specific itch for me in particular. So I thought, I can talk, I can write decently. So let me give it a shot. Let me see if I can create what I think is missing out there. And
right.
it's been a fun ride over the past few years and seeing this thing build out. And arena and indoor football seems to be progressing with it.
Yeah, and they've been doing. I mean, especially the last couple of years, they've been doing a great job with the IFL, most specifically, just kind of growing into what we knew in the '90s and early 2000s of
Yeah.
the professional league. So, and like you said, the action literally can fall in your lap sometimes if
Yeah.
you're not paying attention. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I find it very cool. Like, so I grew up in Cedar Rapids, so I'm kind of in the middle of the Steamwheelers and the Barnstormers. I knew the Barnstormers well enough, obviously, with the Kurt Warner story, stuff like
Right.
that, next to Iowa City and UNI and stuff. So I knew them a little bit more. But now that I'm in the Quad Cities, we've built a special kind of relationship with them, and it's really cool. I actually go to church with Chima, and I've had Keishan on here multiple times. So just
Oh
getting
wow.
to know them is very nice. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Because I nothing will replace like NFL and college football for me, but
Right.
like you said, like I can't, it's really hard to get those to know those players other than their social media. Whereas like these are fan forward and do autograph signings at the end and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
and I like how arena and indoor football for the most part they serve underserved pro sports communities, right?
yeah,
Where Quad Cities that you got like the hockey team's the Quad City Storm,
yep,
is that right? So
yep,
you got like the minor league hockey team, so it makes sense you have like a minor league football team with it, and it gives them
yeah,
a pro football team to really latch onto. So
yeah,
you look at some of the markets that it serves. Des Moines. Des Moines doesn't really have much pro going on, but they could have a good minor league system, right?
yeah,
So it just scratches an itch in so many different ways and gives more opportunities to players, coaches to develop as well. It's just such an important part of the football ecosystem, in my opinion, that just needs better support and better coverage.
yeah, yeah. So I want to ask you because you being kind of the expert a little bit of it. What ones are so I know of the IFL. I know
Mhm.
of I don't know. I couldn't even tell you the league they're in, but the Cedar Rapids Titans were
Mhm.
on my radar earlier because they used to be a lot bigger of a kind of program than they kind of turned out to be
Yeah.
in these more recent years. Trying to figure out like their who they are basically as a team. And
Right.
then I actually had the president of the Iowa Woo on the show.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so what are some leagues that we should be? I'm obviously give support to your local teams no matter what,
Of
but in
course.
the professional world, if you're not in an area of a team, what are some leagues that we should be tuning into that you think are you know you love the action of them?
Yeah, and each league does things a little bit differently, which different strokes, different folks, right?
Yeah,
Where the IFL, I think, is the top dog right now in this indoor and arena football landscape, where they play a game that's a little bit more aligned with the outdoor game, so that might be the most user friendly in terms of getting people into the action because
right.
it makes sense. There's a lot of read option, there's a lot of run, there's a lot of pass. It's a good healthy mix. AF1 Arena Football One is really the only league playing really old traditional. I say old because it's 15, 20 years at this point, but those traditional arena football rules with the Mac linebacker and the Jack linebacker and one person in motion and defensive alignment things. So if you're a fan of the traditional game, AF1 really scratches that itch for you. NAL, the National Arena League, they do a lot of stuff in the middle part of the country. So you're talking from your Kansas, Nebraska, down they're inching down to Texas a little bit. So they play similar indoor rules like IFL does, just a
Mhm.
little bit more regionally specific. But then TAL, you're looking at the Arena League. They play like a chaotic 7-on-7 meets arena football brand that is brand new to the scene over the past couple of years. So it really depends on what you're looking for and what speaks to you. I would suggest everyone give everything a shot and
Yeah,
see what you like. If you like multiple, cool. If you only like one, that's cool too. But ultimately, go support your local team and dive in and see what there is to be seen.
yeah. What do you think makes the IFL and what they're doing kind of push the limits and be more successful than some of these other leagues right now? I know with the new like contract they've been signing with like Yahoo is a
Yeah,
big step and kind of actually. I know last year trying to find some of the games it's very hard. Like they play like the first quarter on YouTube and then it would be like bounced off of there and somewhere else. So it's
yeah,
very difficult. So I know like this obviously helps out quite a bit because we're going
right.
to be able to see and bring broadcasters into it. But what do you think is helping them out to kind of get on the level of getting seen from the UFL to get players into that
Yeah.
to potentially, hopefully, get in the NFL if some of their dreams come true. So, what do you think it is?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think from the league level, they've been very intentional with their efforts. So I think where a lot of teams and a lot of leagues falter in some ways is that they try to do too much too quickly, where they try to launch a 16 team league in 1 year, and
Yeah,
that's just not sustainable. That's not how this works. And just kind of take an inventory of where the IFL was at a few years back, and being like, all right, here's where we are. Things aren't where we want them to be. In 5 years, we want to be here.
hmm
So let's reverse engineer this. Year one, we have to be able to achieve this. Year two, we have to be able to achieve the next step. So I think slowly but surely, at a league level, they've been making incremental progress and making sure that the floor of the standard, like the bare minimum standard across the board, is lifted every single year with every single one of these teams.
yeah,
So you don't have something where Team A has an immaculate broadcast, but then Team B looks like it was filmed through an iPhone from 2008,
yeah,
right? So I think they were very intentional there, but I think ultimately what gets players opportunities at the next level are the people in the league and in the teams. You look at Coach Mike Davis over in Vegas; he does a great job of connecting folks with people in the CFL because he has those connections from his time being a coach and scout in the CFL. So really, the people of the league and amongst all these teams really help give these players opportunities to get to that next level. And there's just I think there's I don't remember what the exact number is, but there's at least been a couple hundred players signed up from the IFL to the CFL over the past few years, and it's really awesome to see them get that
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah, most definitely. Well, I would love to just dive into some IFL. I mean, the season is already right around the corner, which is just shocking to me. But uh,
Right? Yeah.
I believe the Steam Wheelers are playing on the 21st is what their first game is. So I don't know if that's league start weekend or if they do that. But
Yeah.
what
So I think that's their first home game.
that's their first home game. Okay. So they got
Yeah.
one
So
before
I
that.
think they play this upcoming weekend on the 14th. They play in
Jeez.
Fishers.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah. So it's
insane to
right
me.
there.
Yeah, because I know they've been at training camp all week. I've seen,
Yep.
heard from some people from there, and team's looking good. But what are your some expectations you think are going to come out of this season? The Steamers look. I mean, the injury bug caught them last year. I've had conversations
Hmm.
with Destiny Brown and Coach Ross, and kind of talked a little bit like that injury bug just came at the wrong time for them,
Yeah.
and kind of bit them in the butt, but overall from the league, it was a great playoff. Even that Steamwheeler, I forget who they played now off the top of my head, but the last game, I mean, it was like 90-80, just
Yeah. It was absurd.
offensive
Yeah.
shootout, just going crazy.
Yeah.
But what are some expectations that you think from this year? Just on the field, different teams. What are you seeing?
Well, I think just starting with Quad City, I think they're in a big time championship or bust season where they were so close. You can make the case if there was a kickoff in the fourth quarter that ricocheted off of the
Yeah,
uprights. If that doesn't happen, there's a world where Quad City's in the championship game
yeah,
instead of Green Bay, right? So they were just so close, but like you said, the injury bug got them in a certain spot, and they just weren't able to, win that game. But the fact that they're running it back with a lot of those key pieces means they really believe in what's going on there, and the fact that they're bringing back Daquan Neal at quarterback, it's
mhm,
massive. Signing Keon Williams from Iowa last year, who was the Triple Crown winner, meaning he led the IFL in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. You're adding that guy to an offense that was already very potent.
yeah,
This Quad City team is going to be unbelievable. I think Fishers. You look at Fishers in the Eastern Conference; they have a really great roster. Their inaugural season last year, they won their first two games. They lost 9 in a row, but then they won their last 5 games. So they were very streaky, but they found a formula that worked, and they brought back a lot of that formula for this upcoming season as well. So in the East, I think Quad City and Fishers are two of the teams you got to look out for. But the thing about the IFL is that there's so much parity with the league
yeah,
that you can make a case for probably 10 of the 14 teams to legitimately make a shot, like take a shot at the championship.
yeah,
So you can make a strong case. And when you can make that much of a case for more than 60% of your league, that's exciting going into the
yeah.
season.
Yeah, I want to talk about the other team I'm close to because it for the Barnstormers, it seemed they had a lot of really good players. They had a rookie quarterback that played out of his mind and was I
Yeah.
think he was on the rookie team, wasn't he? All
Yep.
IFL rookie, yeah. And I think he's in Orlando now. But I mean, they played really well. They just didn't win games for whatever reason. They're bringing Coach Cole in this year, who seems to we had him on seems to love the team, love the area, and love the idea of bringing back what the Barnstormers used to be.
Right.
What do you see there? I mean, with how that season went last year and how they just didn't ever seem like they fell on the right side of things.
Yeah, it's not easy to win games when you have a
Yeah,
historically bad defense that gives up the most points in IFL history,
yeah,
right? So it's hard to win football games. So you could score 55 a game, that's great, but if your defense is giving up 60 a game, that's not good.
yeah,
So you're not going to win very many football games. But I do like the fact that I think Andre Cole is just really, really good at what he does and bringing in his philosophy and his system. He's a very successful head coach down in Frisco
yeah,
in 23 and 24 before heading over to Tulsa as an offensive coordinator in 25. And Tulsa made the playoffs for the very first time with him calling shots on offense. So he knows what he's doing from a coaching perspective. And if he can get his guys in the mix, and they are returning some of the players from last year that were impactful and were able to make a difference, but bringing in some fresh blood from last season is really going to help. And it's going to take some time. I think Iowa's going to be much more competitive than they were last year,
yeah,
but it's going to be a stacked Eastern Conference. But I think they'll find a way to surprise some teams.
yeah. Do you think there's a world where, with this broadcasting stuff going on, with the Yahoo Sports stuff, like trying to be a little bit more, um, in a way, like the NFL, of trying to bring you the action in a little bit more of a professional way, where we get a little bit more spread in the training camp to season world, because it's very, and at least in my mind, it's like very hard to, okay, they're done in a week or they're done this week. And I think I just saw the Barnstormers were starting up. So like they like are gonna
Hmm.
be like a week and then game plays next week. They got to make all
Yeah.
those decisions by that week and kind of coming up. Do you think there's a world where, with it kind of being a little bit more front stack, that we get a little bit more of a break, a little bit bigger of a kind of system, and where they can be a little bit more sustained team to team, to not, obviously they got to bring these guys in, and it takes a lot of money to do that, but
Right.
where we're going to get, because I'm sure if Yahoo Sports and stuff wants to build on this, and the IFL wants to build on it, they're going to want to have kind of like the, not NFL offseason where it's like 6 months long of offseason news, but
Hmm.
where they can share some rosters and stuff that are moving around. Do you think there's a world that happens?
I think so. I think that the tricky thing with the staggered start times with training camps is that I think that teams are officially allowed to report. I think the number's 3 weeks before their first game. So when you have like Quad City and Fishers, they're playing week 1,
Yeah,
but then you have a team like Tucson that doesn't play till week 3. Quad City and Fishers plays this week, but Tucson hasn't reported to camp yet.
yeah,
So that creates some weird timing things where it ultimately comes down to arena availability. I think is the main thing that dictates scheduling.
yeah,
Because when you look at the IFL schedule, it's 20 weeks long.
yeah,
There's 16 games and 4 bye weeks for every single team. The NFL season is only 19 weeks long.
yeah, yeah,
Right? No, I scratch that. It's 18 weeks, right? So
yeah, yeah,
this week's season is 2 weeks longer than the NFL season, which is crazy to think about. So I think there is a world where it can be a little bit more unified, but the presence of the sport in the football ecosystem and the relationships with the arenas have to be to a point where they can get some preferable dates and they can get some alignment. Because I would love if week 1 all 14 teams in the IFL
right.
were in action. That would be amazing, but that's just not how it works sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, because you got a lot of teams, like I know, like the Storm here, they share it with the Steamers, I'm sorry, share it with the Storm. So
Right.
I even got, like, they do some fun videos of doing like Destiny was saying, they did like a concert on one of the nights, they did a Steamler game one of the nights, and they did a Storm game one of the nights. So they had to flip everything within the same weekend. So
Yeah.
it's very crazy and unorthodox, but I think they're like, in my world, it's kind of keep training camp the same way it is, and like obviously more unified, but then kind
Hmm.
of move the season back, that 1 or 2 weeks to get, because there's also opportunities where, like in the NFL, you see it a lot where this guy didn't make it through training camp, but now this team's going to pick this guy up because, hey, that's a piece we need, and I think
Hmm.
it'll fit our system a little bit better. Like there's still a world where a lot of that could be happening as well, and
Of
it does
course. Yeah.
happen during. We see it all the time where, I mean, with such a small roster, one injury can ruin your whole season unless you can find that random guy that makes it. So,
Yeah.
I just hope for that, just as a on this side of the world. I mean, it's a little selfish, just where we're like, hey, we'd love to spread some news of this and what the teams are doing, and kind of have a little bit of
Yeah.
appreciation.
Yeah. It is a lot more of a grind trying to like teams and leagues. They're getting better, but they've made it hard to love this sport
Yeah,
over the past few years. So being able to make it a little bit easier to cover the sport and spread the love on it
yeah,
is always welcome.
yeah, and it's always too hard too. Like they're all going through the same kind of growing pains, where it's like, yeah,
Exactly.
well, now these new things are set upon us, and we got to figure all that out and try and
Yeah.
bounce around everything. But do you have some storylines you're hoping to see this year play out? Like obviously the Green Bay Blizzard and the uh, Steamers have kind of become a little bit of a rivalry, stronger obviously within this past a couple of years, where last year in the playoff game, and then I think they split last year when they played.
Hmm.
So kind of that's building a little bit more. Do you have any storylines that you're kind of playing out from last year that are going into this year?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of storylines when you look at team rivalries and developing relationships between teams like Green Bay and Quad City over the past couple of years. That's definitely one that's risen to
Yeah,
prominence, and it's one where Green Bay is having to retool a lot because Max Myler and Kamani Clark are over in Arizona now. That was a big chunk of their offense. So how do they
yeah,
retool? How do they rebuild? How do they reload to build on that momentum from being 6 inches away from an IFL national championship title last year? Quad City, how can they get over the hump in the playoffs and make it back to that IFL championship game? You look at the Pirates; they're moving from Massachusetts to Orlando.
Yeah.
The Pirates and the Sharks already had a rivalry. Now it's a regional rivalry between Jacksonville and Orlando. It'll be interesting to see how that develops and how that grows. And flipping over to the West Coast, right? You got the San Diego Strike Force, you got the Vegas Nighthawks. They had an absolute battle in the Western Conference, and that's turning into one of the premier rivalries in the IFL. And then we haven't even touched on the state of Arizona, where 3 of the 14 teams are, and
Yeah.
anybody who plays the Rattlers, it has a rivalry with the Rattlers. So
Yeah.
it's there's just so many different storylines to be told, and
Right.
it's every single week there's something there that's exciting to watch.
Yeah. Last year the semi, the right before the championship,
Mhm.
was it Rattlers and Strike Force that played
Mhm.
that?
Yep.
There was some controversy at the end of that game.
Yeah.
Explain that to us a little bit. Like I said, I've bounced around in the IFL kind of fandom, obviously landing
Yeah.
with these two teams, but explain what happened, because I know there was some runoff in time, some things like that. Not everything was cohesive necessarily. So kind of give it to us and what you think happened in all of it.
Yeah, so in simplest terms, I could wax poetic on this for a long time, but I know we got a little time here. So basically, the Rattlers were up by 6 with like 3 minutes to go in the game, and San Diego. I've had interviews with San Diego coach and quarterback who told me their plan was to leave as little time on the clock as possible, because you give the Rattlers the ball back,
Yeah.
they're going to score. They're going to find a way to win games. That's what Kevin Guy does with that team.
Yeah.
And so they were working their way down the field, running the clock down. They might have got a little too comfortable with the clock. The clock was they had the ball at the 2 yard line. They were setting up the play. The clock was going down 9, 8, 7. The quarterback's talking to all the players, not even under center, mind you. He's like 5 yards away from the center. He's trotting back to the line. He takes the snap, throws a quick pass, touchdown in the end zone, ties the game with no time left. But the issue was there was a player that wasn't 100% set at the time of the snap. So technically, that should have been I think it was a formation penalty, or might have technically been false start on the offense, which would have negated the touchdown, which would have sent the Rattlers to the conference championship game. But it wasn't called, so they couldn't review it to add the penalty, because you can't do that in the rules.
Right.
But since it wasn't called, they couldn't do anything about it. So San Diego kicked the extra point and they won the game. Kevin Guy, the Rattlers head coach, had an all-time press conference meltdown, and it was a doozy. And things and stuff changed in the offseason to hopefully prevent situations like that from happening again. But it was one of the many storylines from the 2025 season.
Yeah, definitely. Are we going to see you are you going to get around to any of the games this year?
Yeah, there's a handful of games I'm going to be going to, starting with this upcoming one in Fishers, Quad City versus Fishers. I'll be in the building for that one.
Sweet.
Heading out to Arizona a little bit later on this season as well. Probably heading over to San Diego for a game as well. So I'm going all over the place, going to different games and going to different parts of the country. So if you don't follow me already, if you're listening on here, at Off the Wall right here, make sure you follow along the journey, and we're going to be posting a ton of stuff throughout the season for all these different teams and leagues.
Yeah. Well, if you ever got to Quad Cities, we'd love to connect with you in town. And
100%.
yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate you being on, Trey. We'd love to have you on at some point again throughout the season to kind of like you be basically our expert, because you know way more about any of this than we do. So we just love the steam wheelers and a little bit more of the barnstormers as well for me. But we'd love to have you on and kind of talk a little bit more football with you.
Yeah, absolutely. My inbox is always open. We're in the DM, so let me know when you want to hop on, and we can make it happen.
Awesome. Well, thank you again.
Yep. Take care.
You too. Bye.